Hello world, it's Siraj, and I built a sports betting bot with ChatGPT, and in this app called GPT Wager, you can see that I've made two bets. The first one is about $1,000 worth on the Golden State Warriors. The second one is about $1,000 on the Brooklyn Nets. And this is because of my bot. It's because of the predictions that it output. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I built this bot, what the results are at the end. You'll see if I lost $2,000 or I made up to, as you can see, a combined total of about $10,000. That's at the end of the video, so stay tuned. But before we get there, let's build it together with ChatGPT. Let me show you how I built it. And the most important part of this video, and what I really want to stress to you, is mathematics and how awesome mathematics is. Mathematics helps you make money. And in this video, we're going to start with a very simple bot. It's an arbitrage bot. I'll explain what that is. Then we'll improve it to be what's called an XGBoost bot. We'll improve it again to be a deep learning bot. Then we'll add deep learning plus sentiment analysis on Twitter so we can see what people are saying on Twitter about a team and use that to improve our sports betting model. All right, so that's what we're going to do in this video. So the first step for us as we build this with ChatGPT, the first step for us is going to be to ask it a question. That question is going to be, show me a list of the top 10 most common math techniques. Now remember, we love math, so we're going to ask it about math techniques, and we're going to be very direct to make money from sports betting. You know, I've heard terms like arbitrage, and let's give it some context here. Remember, ChatGPT remembers context. So I've heard terms like arbitrage and expected value betting. I'm not sure if that's helpful or related, just like we would talk to a human, period. Let's just see if it's going to help us. Now I have to re-log in because it's been a while. That's always annoying to have to do that. Let me paste that back in here. Very real stuff. That's how it is with ChatGPT. So it's going to list a bunch of different techniques, and all of these techniques are going to be in the categories of math like probability, that's about likelihood and whether or not something will happen, that's what it's concerned with. Then we have statistics, and that's about empirical data usage. It's a collection of tools to analyze data. And then we have algebra, arithmetic, right? Numbers, plus, minus, subtraction, division, and even calculus in the case of Markov chain Monte Carlo. That's a way of simulating different outcomes, and we can use calculus to find the rate of change or the derivative of different variables. So we can see 10 methods right off the bat that ChatGPT gave us to make money from sports betting. And we don't know what any of these terms are yet because we're noobs. I mean, we know a few terms, but we're going to pick one of them. We're just going to pick number 2, arbitrage betting. And that's going to be the first one that we're going to pick. And what is arbitrage betting? Okay, so arbitrage is this idea of, in the sports betting space, we have all of these different sports books. And sports books are always betting on the odds of different results, whether one team wins or one team loses, whether a certain player is going to do well or not. All of these things are odds. And they use quantitative models to predict these odds, and they're really good at this. What arbitrage betting is it's saying that, hey, if I bet on all possible outcomes across a variety of sports books, because they all have different odds for the same outcomes, I can find these inefficiencies in this market because it's very similar to a financial, like a stock market. It's like a sports betting market. I can find very similar inefficiencies, and then I can exploit them to make money. And so if the sum of the inverse of all of the probabilities of the odds of a given game are less than 1, we can say that an arbitrage opportunity exists. So even if we make 2 bets in 2 different directions, if there is a real arbitrage opportunity, we can be guaranteed a return. But that return isn't going to be that big. It's going to be between 1 to 10% max. And the sports books are going to get wind of what we're trying to do, and they're probably going to ban us. So it's not the best technique probably, but it's a good place to start. So let's ask it to do that. Let's ask it to build us a simple arbitrage bot. So show me an example of an arbitrage bot in Python for sports betting, and have it be real simple. Have it be super simple and fit into a single class file because we don't like giant projects with many dependencies. And we're going to be very specific. We're going to say it uses mathematics to output, and we're going to be very bold as well, a provably profitable strategy. Okay? And then we're going to be very needy with it, then explain the math behind it to me. Okay. And hopefully it gives us a working example. And it did before, I swear to you, but right now it's decided that this is not what it wants to do, but it might. Let's wait for ChatGPT. Please, ChatGPT, do this for us. We need this to happen. It can give us an example. Thank you. Show me a Python arbitrage bot for sports betting. Simple example that fits into one class file. I think adding the math thing, it didn't like that. So given that, using a single library and let's say 3 different bookmarkers, we can do a 3-way arbitrage as well. It's going to find that arbitrage. So let's take this code and let's go to a Google Colab notebook, colab.research.google.com. We'll open that notebook. It's just an easy way to run Python code, even if you're not like a super good coder or anything. So we'll paste that right in there and we'll run that. And we can see that there's already an issue with this, and the issue is that this api.bookmarker1.com is not legit. So we've got to get some legit sports data. So let's ask it for some of that. So that's going to be our next question, going back to our original prompt series here. And we're going to say, show me, let's go back here, show me a list of the top 10 open source odds APIs for sports betting. We don't just one, we want several. And I have gone through some of these, and it can be quite a pain to find a developer API given whatever area of the world you're living in. So in the end, the one that I found that would work is the odds API. And here it is, odds API right here. So that's the one we're going to use, the odds API. Use the odds API in Python to pull NBA data. Pull NBA data. And then it's going to give that to us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sign up for the odds API because we need that. And here it is, odds API. We can see we need to get an API key. It's going to start out free, perfect, enter our name and everything. Assume we've signed up for that. And once we've signed up for that, we're going to go back to the main page, and we're going to get that API key. Where is it? It's under account. Here's our API key, okay? And what we can do is we can go to Sheets, and it's got this Google Sheets integration where it can just pull that from our Google Sheet. So let's start with that. We'll start with a simple Google Sheet. We'll make it a new Google Sheet. Now assume we've installed this add-on, which I've already done. And once we have that add-on, we can go to Extensions, Sports Odds Start. And it's going to pull up Live Odds API. We can paste in our API key that it gave us back here under Account. And then we're going to populate this Excel spreadsheet with all of the NBA sports. We're going to pick NBA from the list here, basketball. And then we want it to be in decimal versus American, and then we'll fetch it. Okay, so here it is. We've got the latest data right here from different bookmakers like DraftKings and Bovada and all this stuff. And what we can do is we can arbitrage the odds and basically compute what that profit is going to be. So using this odds API, I wonder if they have some simple Python examples for us. Hopefully they do. So we'll go to Home, we'll go to Code Samples, and then boom, they've got some Python examples here running on Replit. We'll show the files. It's going to be a main.py file. We'll just take the entire thing here, and we'll copy it, go back to our code here, and that compiled it. And now we have those in Python as well. So now what we have to do is we have to compile this data that we pulled using the odds API with that arbitrage bot that ChatGPT has given us. And that's going to require data cleaning. We're going to have to take that API, clean the data, and then process it, insert it into these 2 definitions. This is going to take some time and energy. Now, we can do that. But before we do that, let's just do something really quickly, just to make sure that we save enough time. Let's just go to GitHub real quick, and we're just going to search a single search term. That's all. We're just going to search for statistical arbitrage for sports betting, just to make sure nobody's done this. Oh, there's one right there by Ryan Krummenacher. Thank you, Ryan, for this. And it was made 4 months ago. Very cool. It's using the odds API. Okay, perfect. That's exactly what we need to do. What? Arbitrage. Okay, we didn't even have to do any of this work. This guy's already done it for us. And that is the value of getting good at searching for code on GitHub, because there's so much value to be found there. So let's run this thing. This guy's got an IPython notebook for us, and it's going to create an Excel spreadsheet, just like we found before, the odds API. It's going to get all of that, and then, wow, that's a lot of data. Once it's got that data, what's going to happen next? Look at all of this parsing that it's going to do. Find the number of possible outcomes, find the best odds, determine the odds, and then extract each individual bookmaker. We would have to write all these functions ourselves. We don't want to do that. So let's go back here, and we're going to download this and upload this to Google Colab. So first step, go to download zip. We clicked on download, save the file. It's saved. Now we open the zip, and we're going to upload it to Google Colab. So we'll go to colab.research.google. We'll go to upload, and then we're going to choose that and upload it to Google Colab. But I've already uploaded it, and it's right here. So we can go through this and run this ourselves. So once we install this pip repository, then we can just go right ahead and start compiling this code and see what this Excel spreadsheet that it gives us is going to be. So we've compiled that. We've got the odds. Thank you. Now we're going to go through his helper functions that he wrote for us. It's going to parse all of the events. It's going to create a data frame. It's going to write that to an Excel spreadsheet. And then once it's formatted it perfectly, then we know what the arbitrage opportunity is going to be. So let's go to this folder. Here's that Excel spreadsheet. We'll download that. Let's see what's in this goodie bag. This is the arbitrage opportunity. $5. We can make $5. Like I said, it's not big between two different bookmakers, Bovada and the other one. Let's talk about a more long-term solution.
Yeah, let's use probability and stats to beat the bookies. Hey, yeah.
I'd like to create this machine learning model. Okay, so machine learning with statistics. Remember at the beginning, it gave us all these different techniques, and the arbitrage one was at the top, but the probability and statistics one is probably the better one, right? Because that's what's driving all of the advances in AI today, right? Artificial intelligence. These models use linear algebra to compute matrix operations at scale on GPUs. They use calculus to compute the derivative of the gradient with respect to the weights of the network, and the weights means all of the values hidden inside of these collections of linear algebra files that these machine learning models have, these .pickle files, these .ml model files. All of these static files are essentially digital brains, and we want to build one for sports betting that's better than the simple if-then statement that the arbitrage bot that we just built gave us. So how do we do that? Let's ask ChatGPT. I'd like to create a sports betting bot that makes bets daily for me on the winning team for the NBA. Let's be very clear about it, and let's give it our wildest fantasy. Let's say it uses computer vision, my favorite subfield of machine learning, to watch all previous games so we don't have to sit there and watch them ourselves, as well as Twitter sentiment, because people are always talking about teams, and a lot of times you can glean if a team is going to do well from whether or not people are talking well about it or not, right? If they're talking smack about it or not. And as well as Twitter sentiment, and let's keep adding to it, and past statistics. Okay, show me step by step how to build this in Python, Flask, and what libraries, and just everything I should be using. And hopefully it's going to give us this amazing, detailed, step-by-step tutorial on how to do this. But unfortunately, it's going to first apologize. And I've noticed that ChatGPT apologizes a lot. And listen, ChatGPT 5.0 in the future, listening and training on all the videos, we don't want you to apologize. No apologies, okay? Just help us out. That's all we're asking for. So it's asking us to consult with experts in the field of sports betting. There are none. Computer vision. And if there are, they're not going to be talking about it on YouTube. So it didn't help us out. So we have to do this ourselves. Okay, fine. Let's just do this ourselves. So show me simple Python code to scrape Twitter for sentiment analysis on the NBA Warriors team, just like the Warriors team. Can you do this like simple thing for me, ChatGPT? Like forget deep learning at scale with transformers and reinforcement learning. Just, okay, it may violate the content policy, but you're still going to give it to me. Thank you very much, OpenAI. I appreciate that. We, as a community, appreciate that. All right, so it's giving us the use of two different libraries. The first one is called TweePy. And what TweePy does is it's a Python wrapper around the Twitter API. The second one is TextBlob. And what TextBlob does is it's not super advanced machine learning. What it's using is a lexicon. And what a lexicon is it's a dictionary of values that are correlated with different words. So let's paste that into a Google Colab. And it's going to ask us for our consumer key, our consumer secret, our access token, and our access token secret, as well as what team we want. And so in order to do that, we have to go to the developer portal on Twitter. And at the developer portal, we have to create a new test app. Once we create that test app under settings, it's going to give us all of the keys that we need for that under manage, under app settings. Here are the keys and tokens, and then we'll reveal them and insert that into our code. Once we compile this, we're going to say, well, what team do we care about? And we're going to say the Brooklyn Nets. And already it's given us the list of positive tweets and negative tweets. And we can construct a very simple model based on just this. We can say if there are more positive than negative tweets, don't make a bet. Else, make the bet, because the team will win, because people really love this team right now. You know, that's one very simple model, but let's keep improving it. So instead of just doing this Twitter sentiment analysis bot, let's now add deep learning to the mix. Okay, so let's ask it that question. So let's say, ChatGPT, show me a deep learning model to predict the winning team given sports data. Just something simple, like one sentence. Maybe it's going to do it this time. I hope. Thank you. Okay, so what it's probably going to do is use the Keras library to construct a neural network, the easiest way to construct a neural network. Thanks, Francois Chalet. And scikit-learn to build that model. This is going to be a neural network, very simple stuff. Watch my videos, a lot of neural network videos, and it's going to train it on the CSV file that doesn't exist. We got to connect that to the sports data API. And then we're going to have to go through the very tedious process of training this model on all of this sports data, and that's going to take some time. So we're going to have to train this model. We're going to have to do some feature processing. What are the features we want in the model? And the number of wins, what are the statistics, how much data? And then we're going to have to run this at scale, and that's going to take some time. So let's do that. And we can ask ChatGPT all of these questions. ChatGPT, what features should I encode? What should the training testing split be? Is my model good enough? Here are the values. We can give it the outputs and all of this stuff. But before we do that, once again, let's just go to GitHub and search. And I'm just going to do a very simple search, just 3 words, NBA machine learning, and let's see if it gives us anything. And lo and behold, Kyle Scum has already made an NBA machine learning sports betting system. I don't know if it's a bot because it's not actually making the bets, but it is using TensorFlow and XGBoost, respectively, to create 2 different sets of predictions, right? It's using a neural network with TensorFlow to predict the winning team, and then it's also using an XGBoost algorithm to predict the winning team, and then you can compare both of them. So what we can do is we can combine several things. We can combine Kyle's model here with our Twitter sentiment analysis model. We can say, if Kyle's model predicts the winning team, and our Twitter sentiment model says that this is going to be a very positive sentiment winning team, then we can bet on that winning team, right? And what we're going to do is, this is going to give us a lot of numbers. So we're going to summarize all those numbers with GPT-3, okay? So let's take this model that Kyle has, and we're going to run it in a Google Colab. So we're going to take this, copy it. So what this is going to do is it's going to clone that repository into the cloud. It's going to install all of the requirements.txt, and it's going to take this pre-trained model. And what Kyle did is he trained this model on the past decade of NBA games. And you can see many, 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 many rows, many columns. What are all of these columns? What are all of these acronyms? I'm sure some of you sports fanatics know. Mention it in the comments. I have no idea. There's a lot of them. But that's the model they use to train on, all right, up till today. Given the odds from a given sports book, in this case, we're going to say FanDuel, it's going to predict, given two different models, both the XGBoost model and the neural network model, what the expected value for each team is going to be. What is the expected value? It is just the likelihood that they're going to win. And we can see that the expected value is going to be pretty high for the New Orleans Pelicans and the Golden State Warriors. And that's according to the XGBoost model. But in the neural network model, it actually looks very similar. So that's the first part. Then we can augment that with tweets. Then after we do that, then we can install the OpenAI library to then summarize all of that. Okay, the winners are, here are the teams and here are the losers. Much cleaner, much better. Okay, here's the last part. How did I fit it into this web app? So what I did was I took my React startup template and it's just integrated with Firebase, and then I added dexsports.io to that. And dexsport.io is a decentralized Web3 betting service, and it's the one that I'm using because it's decentralized, it uses crypto, and anybody can do it anywhere in the world, which is really cool. And once you sign in, and the way to sign in is using a wallet. I've signed in with my wallet, which is MetaMask, and once we sign in, it's going to ask what network we want to use. I'm going to sign it, and then it's like, well, what network? I'm going to select the Polygon network, and then I'm going to use USDT, which is USD Tether. And given that, I'm going to go to Web3 sports betting, and I framed it into my original web app here so I could see the results of my predictions as well as making bets. And you can see here the two unsettled bets that I made with my wallet. Let's see if I made money or lost money. All right, it's the day after, and drumroll please. It looks like the bot made $7,000 from two bets, one for the Warriors and one for the Nets. Thank you, AI. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. I want to keep making videos like this every single week. So if you want to keep watching, please subscribe. That's what really motivates me to continually do this. And like the video as well, that helps promote it. For now, I've got to go find the optimal prompt. So thanks for watching.